Welcome back. In today's adventure, we're walking some ruins today, just outside St. Mary's, Georgia, checking out the McIntosh Sugar Mill Park and walking amongst the ruins. Should be a fantastic time. I always like to walk through ruins, but I got a question for you. Are you ready? Ready to go off the beaten path and check out some ruins? Follow me. In this adventure, let's explore the abandoned ruins and learn about the sugar making process, tabby, and the history of this site. This story begins discussing two men that are integral to this story, Thomas Spalding and John McIntosh. John McIntosh built this sugar mill located here in 1826 after the urging from Thomas Spalding. Who exactly are these men? Well, let's rewind and head to Fort Frederica and talk about Thomas Spalding. He was born here in Frederica on March 25th, 1774, and these are most likely the remains of the tabby house he was born and grew up in. Thomas Spalding was a pioneer in sugar cultivation and was credited with introducing sugar production here in Georgia. He was also a pioneer in tabby construction. What is tabby? Tabby is a building material consisting of lime, water, and crushed oyster shells that were in abundant supply in this area. Thomas Spalding affinity for tabby can be contributed to being born here in Frederica, where the majority, if not all of the buildings were built from tabby. Thomas Spalding once said, in reference to tabby, that he seen time destroy everything, but not the forts and houses built from tabby. Tabby, according to Spalding, was the most economical material that could withstand the test of time. Now let's head back to the McIntosh Sugar Mill as we talk more about Thomas Spalding, John McIntosh, and the process of sugar making. Around 1806, Thomas Spalding began experimenting with sugarcane and also tabby in the construction of buildings. Thomas Spalding was one of the South's greatest agricultural minds and built an impressive plantation on Sapelo Island. He would write many articles throughout his life on farming techniques. His policies on how to cultivate and manufacture sugar was adopted by other southern farmers and became known as the Spalding method. Let's make a shift and talk briefly about John McIntosh relating to his life in agriculture. John McIntosh acquired 650 acres from James Seagrove in 1811, becoming part of his plantation called Mariana, where he had a lucrative sea cotton plantation. In 1819, he purchased an additional 2,900 acres adjacent to Mariana from John Boog, and finally, in 1821, he purchased another 1,040 acres from James Seagrove, which would become his new Canaan plantation, which includes the land the McIntosh Sugar Mill was built. After a visit to Louisiana in 1825, Spalding saw a horizontal steam-driven mill and was inspired. Upon his return, he came up with a way to replace the steam-driven mill to one powered by cattle. He recommended this type of mill to John McIntosh, and in the following year, John McIntosh built the first horizontal cane mill driven by cattle power here at this location. McIntosh's sugar mill built here was 120 feet by 75 feet with 3 rooms, one for boiling, one for grinding, and one for curing. The process started here in the eastern room of this mill. Imagine this is a 2-story room with wood floors and thick tabby walls. On the second floor, you would see cattle moving around an inner shaft that rotated the gear located on the first floor that powered the press, which extracted juice from the sugarcane. Like an assembly line, the sugarcane would horizontally move from one room to the other as it was processed. Let's move now to the middle room, which was used for the boiling process, and it is here where the juice was boiled and turned into a syrup. For obvious reasons, this room had earthen floors instead of wood floors, boilers, and multiple kettles used to condense the juice into a syrup. In the final steps, we moved to the next room, where the curing process happens. It is here where the syrup is poured into containers and allowed to crystallize into sugar. The molasses is then poured out. A product called bagasse, a dry pulpy fiber material, is also created in the sugar making process, and it is left behind. Bagasse can be used to feed the cattle or used as energy in the boiler. The sugar mill operated for approximately 10 years when John McIntosh died in 1836. Upon McIntosh's death, the land was sold to Colonel Houstoun, who used this factory to produce arrowroot starch. We just got done exploring the ruins of the McIntosh Sugar Mill. It was a great time, quick little stop. It's kind of hard to find, to be honest with you. GPS will take you right here, but we were just going and then seen a small sign on the side of the road pointing to the left, and luckily I seen it in time to pull into this small parking lot. But if you're interested in checking out ruins or just places off the beaten path, make sure you check out McIntosh Sugar Mill. I want to thank you all for watching. Until the next one.